Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Live from Park City, Utah. This is where I'm sitting right now. This is the beautiful table. So my daughter, who does Kiruv with the Jewish collective Park City here. These are the two chaver that waited a long time for this year to start. This was a table full of, I don't know, chocolates, different things. Had a chocolate tasting. Let me get my camera back to me. And so we have a little bit of a delay. So anybody that was waiting online or something, I apologize. More than a little bit. It's almost an hour delay. So Rabbi Isai, very exciting day today. Let me show you a video taken by some random stranger. We have no idea what it is here. Let me show you.
Wait a minute. Is there a belly?
You could tell just from...
A belly?
Whoa. Don't
I'm holding a Gemara, right? I'm learning Gemara while I
This is how you do
snowboard.
it?
Almost.
Okay.
It's authentic. Neflai Sabaya. Learning Torah and enjoying together. It's unbelievable. Otherwise, it's a beautiful, beautiful siyum in London. And Reb Weisfish, the shoichet, look what he brought as a prop. A real head of a sheep. And he's showing that it has only one set of teeth, doesn't have upper teeth. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to turn this around for a second so I can read. There's two new locations that we're trying to get going over here. In Queens, there's a satellite location, Ora Torah. And in Cedarhurst, our good chaver over there, where I went, Aryeh Blumenthal, we had a little bit of a shear there the other day. Remember, I went to this thing, and then the problem was with my software on my computer. We thought it was the internet, so we went to Belsky, and we had the same issues. So, mechila, but he's doing a lot. What is he doing over there? A satellite location. There's a bunch of guys that together, there's a reason why we brought more than, I want to say close to 3,000 people to Menachos. And the reason is because people like David Salmon and Shalom Rand and Tzvi Pinzel and Shimmy Jacobs, let's just call him Shimmy J, v'chulu, CBN, all our chaverim, David Salmon's new MDY retention group, earpods for incentives, group is growing by the hour, 35 new members in the first 12 hours. Kitzer, he made a group, 35 new people, and he's doing accountability, he's going to be on top of them, and not in an annoying way, in a geschmacka way to make sure that everybody's... Very nice email here. L'chvoid Rebelli, Reb Yossi, and all who made the Shabbaton possible. I wanted to share a brief but heartfelt expression of Akar Satayr for what was truly Shabbos of Achdus, one that captured in a powerful and authentic way the essence of MDY at the very best. From the very outset, it was clear that this is not simply a well-organized weekend, but a thoughtfully crafted experience. Daf Yomi itself remained the steady anchor throughout, grounding the inspiration and consistency and daily commitment while allowing Torah to feel fresh, alive, and deeply relevant. The Torah shared over the course of the Shabbaton was meaningful and uplifting. The messages delivered by Rabbi Yoel Gold, Rabbi Ari Ben Shushan, Rabbi David Goldwasser, Rabbi Aaron Weinberg, Reuven Epstein, Rabbi Nachman Seltzer, and Avi Kamiansky each contributed depth, clarity, and genuine chizuk. A particularly impactful highlight was Rabbi Yoel Gold's presentation of the Torahs, its discovery, its all gold precision, and its inner meaning. I want to talk about it a little bit today, because today on our daf we talk about Torahs. The way he brought out timeless lessons of consistency, perseverance, and inner avodah was both fascinating, deeply moving. In addition to session title Behind the Scenes presented at Shal Shudas, with its real life stories shared honestly and sensitively, open hearts, and created a powerful sense of connection. The Ruach of Shabbos permeated every moment. The Zmir at the Sudas, the singing in the choir, the overall atmosphere of warmth from Erev Shabbos through Motzei Shabbos created a sense of Kedusha and unity that was truly felt. The Shabbaton also brought Torah vividly to life through thoughtfully prepared visual elements, including the models of the Beis Hamikdash and its Kalim. So he sent a few pictures here. Let me just jump forward because some over here you can see in the picture, you can see the size of this. You've all been to a bank, so you know what those ropes look like. It's like 2 ropes long, and it was very, very large. But brought some real animals as a model of Karbanas. Here, I'll show you guys. But this is what really blew me away. This thing was like literally, I would say, 40 feet tall. You could see people standing in the background just to show you the height of this thing. He built this out of wood and foam. It's just huge. So much work goes into it. And what is this? This is the entrance to the Heichal. You got what I'm saying over here? Look just the detail here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. See over here the in how it goes, and it's 40 feet tall. Look at that. It's crazy. That's just one of his many that he did all for free. He didn't charge MDY money. This was the Siyum in MDY. They changed the tables around to make it more festive, more Siyum-like. And this was, I was on Zoom. I participated. Okay. Rabbi Isai, I timed it. It should take 18 seconds a day. This is our new sponsors because Reb Fischel donated a lot of money for the Shas, and the Iranian Levi families donated. And every day, I'm going to say the person who donated that day's daf, because they did spend $1,000 on the daf, and Akar Satayv to them. We didn't say we're going to do it, but we'll do it. And the prakim also were all sold. So let me start. Timing. The official edition of MDY Shas Masechta by the Iranian Levi families, Perek, Shani Mati Belsky and family, Lina Shmas, Simcha Beryl, David, Zuchron Rachman, Avram Moshe, Day, Joel and Rachel, Gedalius, in honor of Bela, Chaya, Yehudis, Moshe Aryeh, and Devorah. How much time was that? The Masechta sponsor David Solomon, dedicated in memory of Imar Shmuel Baruch Ben Chaim Tzvi Dov. All these sponsors should be 2 minutes. Let's do this. The Masechta sponsor Joel Gedalius, Lina Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalius, Anonymous, Hatzal Baruch Nis Begashmis, the Palachik Family Foundation, the Zecha Nishmas, Rav Agoyin, Reb Shlomo Palachik, the Meshitzer Ilui, Atama Volozhin, and Reb Chaim Briskin, one of the first Rosh Yeshiva in America. Something fell, so I wonder if it was like a candle or something. Just wax, okay. Anonymous, Refuah Shlema Moshe Ben Nizaha, Anonymous for a complete Refuah Shlema, and Reches Yom Talea Bas Esther, Yisrael Malki. We are so proud of you, Yaakov Mordechai. Keep steiging. There's a Masechta sponsor, Senator Gross and family, Canvey Island, UK, in honor of Rebellion, who changed my meaning of life. Ploini Almoini, Yossi, Mark, and Benny, and all the Oiskim Tzorche MDY, Kishbroch Shalom Scharim. Monthly sponsors, Ari Simon, Refuah Shlema, Avi Mario Baruch Ben Miriam, Jamie Azulai, Refuah Shlema, Esther Bas Luna, Esther Walkenstein, Mazel Tov to my husband, Kalman Nathaniel Walkenstein, on his 40th birthday. You should tell your wife that what kind of business is sponsoring for one day. This woman sponsored a whole month. And she tells you that when you become 100, she's going to fly me in. Shkoyach. She has a pass for 50 years? I don't think so. Anonymous. Anonymous. Eden Sadik in our generation. Anonymous. In memory of Mazel Bat Leah, Besanada and his Skia. Anonymous, l'schus, a verdict that is good and open and revealed way for Yosef Mordechai ben Batile. I like this because it doesn't say I want a verdict that I get off free scav or whatever it is. I don't want a verdict that shows HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a revealed way. Beautiful. Weekly sponsors, West End Sechever, in memory of our beloved Mardas, Rav Yehuda Kellemer, Zeitz Baruch on his 50-yard side, Yoshi Weiss. So let me tell you what happened over here. I know behind the scenes. He's doing in honor of Mati Belsky for continuing Hatzlacha and great English AI videos. Mati Belsky went over to Yoshi Weiss and gave him money at the Shabbaton. Yoshi Weiss said he has a policy, he doesn't want to take money, which I'm upset at him. I got to talk to him about it. He left me a message. He said, I don't want money from people. I donated it back to MDY. So that's not good. I'm going to have to change that. If somebody wants to give a tip to Yoshi, I think that's okay. But anyway, I mean, our people should not be asking for things that we're not proud of. But if somebody from his goodness of his heart gives him a gift or something, why not? He should take it. Daily sponsors, Laser Raskin, Lila Nishmas, Beyomen, Rial, Ben Gershon Yeshaya, Ben Chayfetz. Elvis Skensberg, thanks for everything. We miss you. I love you, Elvis. Yishkoyach. Anonymous, Lila Nishmas, Zev Doiv, Ben Eliezer. Rechmiel Seplowitz, Nishmas, Imi Merelsi, Nessie Bazev on her 10th yard site. MDYR, the anonymous is Yezben Chai Sor for Parnas Berevach, for Shnei Yonatan Eitem B'Sheva Bracha, for Shnei Mordechai Ben Esther, for Sayeled, Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther. Rabbi Sai, here we go. Remind me, I want to tell you a Givaldic story. You could do it smack in the middle of Amud Aleph somewhere. A great story that happened to me on the ski lift today. I noticed yesterday, and this could answer your question, how come in Zvachim and Menachos, you, Shmulik, were asking me how come there's so many words in the Pirush, and sometimes some sechtas, it's you don't understand the word. You go to the art scroll and it tells you in 2 words. Over here, there's like a whole, there's an agada for everything. So there's a lot of concepts here, a lot, and I'm making you in charge, Shmulik, to count the concepts today. Let's see. Let's count concepts. Here's a new one. We spoke yesterday about the Omer. We're going to talk about it a lot today. There's a whole parak about it. The Omer. The Omer is a mincha. You bring Takash Baruch Hu, a gift made out of barley and a sheep, and that allows you to eat the new crop, because any new crop, wheat, barley that grows, you cannot eat it until the second day of Pesach, when you bring the Omer. We're going to see interesting stuff in the Gemara. Perhaps it's the actual day that causes it, or it's the Omer itself. Here's a question that maybe you didn't know before. Shmuel, you listen to the Hebrew share?
No.
Okay, good. Here's the question. The Omer that comes on the second day of Pesach allows everybody to eat the Cheerios, the pizza, all the wheat product that grew before Pesach. Can I bring wheat product, a mincha, to the Beis Hamikdash on the 3rd day of Pesach? Now that the Omer came, can I bring it to the Mizbeach? That's my question. And the answer is no. The answer is you have to wait until Shavuos. Shtei Alechem is what's matter wheat product to the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, Chidush. So that's musig number 1. Write it down. Meisvei. We're holding the Daf Yomi Aleph on top. Asham etzoyra shenishchat. So let's go back just a second. We had the Shita of Rav, and today we're going to have 2 that argue on Rav. Rav says that if a carbon comes to allow you to do something, for instance, if you are a Mitzayra or a Nazir and you bring a carbon, it allows you to go into the Beis Hamikdash, it allows you to drink wine. If you're a woman and you gave birth and you bring a carbon, it allows you, the woman, to eat kachim. Such a carbon, or the Omer, right? He starts off with the Omer. You bring the Omer. Why do you bring the Omer? So that you could eat the produce of last year. What if you bring this Omer and you have the wrong intent? You think that it's not a carbon Omer, it's not a minchas Omer, it's a minchas nedava. So says Rav, since the whole purpose of this carbon is to allow you to do something, and you messed up, so take whatever you're doing and throw it into the garbage. And the Gemara asks questions, so if so, how come it's not brought in the Mishnah? How come we only know of 1 or 2 things? Two types of minchas that you throw in the garbage. Here's the 3rd one. Okay. Meisvei. So if you pay attention, the first words on the Avdal is Asham Mitzayra. That's one of the examples Rav brought as a carbon, that if you, it's a carbon that it's there for as a not a kapara, but as a matir, as a machshir. It's something that allows you to do something. Asham Mitzayra is one of the examples. He shechted it with the intent that it's not Asham Mitzayra. Let's say it's an oila. So a Mitzayra goes through a very lengthy process, probably one of the longest ones, if not the longest. Different things he has to do in order to be tar. So one of the things is, the kohen takes blood, shechs the asham, and pulls his ear in. Are you watching it on YouTube? What are you doing over there? Oh, wow. Wow. Anyway, he puts blood on his right ear, on his right toe, and then here you can see on the screen. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Here, you guys look over here. Sorry. Yeah, this is much better. Delayed over here. Now he takes oil. After he puts the blood, first comes blood, then comes oil. Remember that. He puts 7 drops on the floor towards the heichal, and then he takes oil and he puts it on top of the blood that's on the ear and on the thumb and on the big toe. So it says like that. He didn't put the blood on the thumb. By the way, I love to pause every time I say that once in a while. I don't know if you had the privilege of breaking your thumb, of jamming your thumb, we call it in basketball language. You play sport? You play basketball? Snowboarder, probably you play basketball. I figured. So if you didn't play basketball for a few months and then you go and play basketball, you jam your finger sometimes. Boom. And you can't use your thumb for like a week. What happens when you can't use your thumb? So you can't tie your shoelace. You can't open up a door. You can't open up a bottle. You can't button your it's like, and then you appreciate the thumb. And then you look at a horse and he doesn't have any fingers, he's garnished. Like, what does he do? Like, how do they function? Monkeys, they have a thumb, so they're very capable. They're like way advanced than all other animals for other reasons as well. But the thumb is super important. I'm just saying, imagine without a thumb, if you tie your thumb, it would be very, very hard to carry a box, all these things. We got to appreciate it. So, it says over here that the asham continues. According to Rav, what would you do with this asham of a mitzvah? Since it's there to allow the mitzvah to do stuff, and you messed up, so throw it out. And over here it says, you put it on the mizbeach. So it's a problem. What do you mean you put it on the mizbeach? You have to throw it out. You have to get the wines. Now you have to bring a second asham. Tiyufta the Rav, this is a massive kasha on Rav. Okay. So now we have an opposing shita to Rav. This is also another musik, by the way. I mean, if you want to count ideas that we're learning here, the amount of ideas. The Omer, there's a guy, this famous, I forgot his name, one of that Rebbe, one of those guys that's a big let's at the Chasanas, the something Rebbe. So he asked somebody, went over to somebody in Shul on the first day of Sfiras HaOmer, he says, could you be mitzi me today for the bracha? So the guy says, be mitzi, it's the first day today. He says, okay, now from now on I'm going to be mitzi you. I got you to say it's the first day. Yeah. Okay. So Menachos ha'omer shekemotza shelo l'shma kshera. Says Rish Lakish, I argue on Rav. Rav says it's garbage, it's possible, and throw it out. I say not only is it not possible, it's kosher. And you put it on the mizbeach, etc. Just what? The leftover of this mincha you can't eat because you need another omer, because the second omer is going to make all the food mutter, so including the first omer. The first omer is also to eat until you get a second omer. The third sheet that we're going to see is this exact thing, minus that you have to wait for the second omer. It's kosher, the yosher, you could eat it, you can do whatever you want with it, even the shirayim you can eat right now. Okay. Ask the Gemara, how could you put the first mincha on the mizbeach? Why? Mimashki Yisrael, min amutal Yisrael. Here's another concept called Mimashki Yisrael. Mimashki Yisrael means that in order for something to go into the mizbeach, it has to be edible for Klal Yisrael. It has to be something juicy. Mimashki means juicy, geshmak, but we could also learn it in terms of a drink for Klal Yisrael. It's edible, it's drinkable for Klal Yisrael. Since the first omer is not edible. Why is it not edible? Because it's chadash. It's from the new crop, and you can't eat from the new crop until you bring a mincha. So if you can't eat it, how do you put it on the mizbeach? Ask the Gemara, yeah? You can't put a chazer on the mizbeach. Why can't you put a chazer on the mizbeach? For a number of reasons, but one of them is because you can't eat it. Yeah? Any food that you can't eat, you can't put on the mizbeach. So how can you put this omer? No, so what's a good pshat? Shmulik, what would you say pshat now? If you had a guess. So the Gemara is going to say, because you could put it, since you could eat it at the end of the day, so it's all within that day, so it's okay. It's just mechusar zman. It's missing a few hours of, you got to take care of some business, and then you'll be, it's not like it's a tray that you can never eat it. It's just not edible right now. Okay. You guys take water, take whatever you need over here, because you got to stay hydrated here. It's in the altitude, you know? Says Gemara, Omer Rav Adar Rav, HaKasover Shlakish holds, Ein mechusar zman leboy bayom. Another yisoid, another musig, and that is that there's no such thing as it's not. It's you have to wait when the waiting is that day. If you just have to wait that day, it's not considered waiting. Oh, I just thought about it. It's a good musig. That maybe that's what the kupat cholim and the doar and all this stuff in Eretz Yisrael, they go by this idea. It's not considered waiting if it's that day. Leboy bayom is not waiting. Okay, a new thing, and a new sign. And mechusar zman leboy bayom. It's not considered that it's off limits. It's not off limits because at the end of the day you're going to be able to eat it. So right now it's considered edible. There are a bunch of things that birds that you bring in the Beis Hamikdash, they have certain halachas that a mincha doesn't have, and yesh b'menachos she'en ba'ifas, and the reverse also is true. The special things about a mincha that birds don't have. Birds, two people could be a partner on a bird, but not by mincha. A person who's a zava yeledes, the day they want to become tar, they go to the mikvah. They come out of the mikvah. What are they called? A tful yom. They have to wait until nightfall. Then they're still not completely tar. They must wait until the following day to bring a carbon. What kind of carbon? They bring a bird, but they don't bring a mincha. So there's a lot of skipping around there. There's a lot of extra words in this Masechta. You'll see in the parentheses. I wonder if the article even brings it. Oh, it's another concept, but another hard thing you need a bunch of lines here to explain this. Is 4 words, which has at least 4 lines of explanation, maybe 14, I don't know. But basically, it's a very simple thing, meaning that although it's usher to do this, let's look at this. What's this? This is maliko. This is to take your thumb and cut the back of the neck of a bird. You do that in Park City, Utah. The bird is treif. It's an avela. Yet the Torah allowed this in the Beis Hamikdash. So birds, killing them through malika is mutter b'kodesh in the Beis Hamikdash. There's nothing wrong with a mincha that you made it mutter. The mincha is always good. It's always kosher. Okay, so these are the pluses, the pros that birds have that menachos don't have. Yesh menachos, and what's so good about a mincha that a bird doesn't have? Shamenachos tunas kli. You must put the flour into special golden klishars. Utnufa, and then you shuckle it like you shuckle a little backwards, forwards, up, down. V'hagosha, and you bring it to the what corner, Rabbi Isai? Southwest corner. I'm very excited. We're going to get the southwest plane he told me he's going to send it to Eretz Yisrael. No. Yeah, private, but this big. Shmulik, that you don't have a private jet. What kind of business is this? You have to get up 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow? Listen to this tzaddik, Rabbi Isai. This tzaddik could have flown back tonight. There's plenty of flights. Daf could pushed off his flights. He could be here for a live share. And that means that he has to wake up at 4 in the morning to catch his, what for? You're not waking up 4 in the morning. You're waking up 3:30. It takes a half hour to get there. You have to return a rental car. Yeah, okay. Maybe you shouldn't go to sleep tonight. Oh, I want to tell you the story, so don't forget. If you, Rish Lakish, are right, that this flour of the mincha, which is asr, the first one is asr. What are you waiting for? For the second one to come along. And you put the first one on the mizbeach, even though you cannot eat any of it. And we ask the question that it's what? It's mimashki Yisrael. It's something that's asr to eat, you shouldn't be putting on the mizbeach. If you're right, here, it's like a bird. Typically a bird, you're not allowed to do malika, but I made a special dispensation. What's the word that I'm allowed to do malik in the Beis Hamikdash? Here, I have food that I can't eat. It's not edible, and I made a special dispensation that I'm allowed to put on the mizbeach right now. Now they're going to write me that's not the right word, dispensation. Whatever the word is, Ein Sham, me and Shmulik. There's 3 people in this room. We both went to Taj Bar. Okay, you know what Taj Bar is? Let me flip the camera around so you can see Mr. Taj Bar. The Menachos, what was his name from Fundish? Alevi. The Menachos Alevi. Oh, yeah. It's the most from school in the world. There is no frommer, I think. There is, right? Am I right? I brought up trauma. You don't even you don't want to think about it. Wow. It's crazy. We're in Park City, Utah, skiing. They don't even know what skiing is. They never even heard of it. Seriously. Yeah, you're not allowed to bring a ball. They stopped recess when I was there for 2 weeks because we were playing Hafganah. And Hafganah is that some kids beat up the other kids. the Nazis, they called me, I was the beater upper, of course. You called me a Nazi, and then I beat you up. Nazi, poof. So they said, oh, you're beating people up? We're stopping recess. So now you have to go from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, no recess. Anyway, we'll talk about Taj Bar a different time. It's a great school today. I'm talking about 40 years ago, literally 40 years ago. More, a little bit more than 40 years ago. It's crazy that we're sitting 2 of us from Taj Bar. So, here I have a situation where the food is also to eat. Why? Because it's before the Omer came. But you want to put the first Omer on the Mizbeach, even though it's kind of puzzle, even though you can't eat it. Oh, here, it's Hutam Klali. Says Gemara, no. I already told you the answer, that anything that has to do with that day, since it's going to become mutter to eat that day, at the end of the day, when I bring the second Omer, so even though right now you can't eat it, it's not a big deal. We're talking about a mitzvah. A guy has an affliction on his skin. He has some white splotches. He goes to the kohen. He says, "You're mitzvah." He has to go through the whole process. So what do we say? He has to shech the kohen shechs ha'asham. He brings 3 korbanos. One of them is asham. Shechs ha'asham, takes the blood, puts it on his thumb, first on his ear, his right thumb, his right toe. But what happens if he did it in the wrong order? Hit igdim matan shemen lematan dam. He put the oil on before the blood. You should do it over. You should do the oil again. After you put the blood on, put the oil on. And then matan ba'oid is the matan sheva. Oh, here, the rest of the oil, you put it on his head, on his bald head. So what if he messed up? They put the oil on the fingers, but before they did the 7 sprays towards the eichel. You should redo the whole thing. You should fill up more oil and do it again. If you tell me there's no such thing as waiting and being late or being early that day, so what's the difference if you did it out of order? Let him just do it out of order. Who cares? No, you can't do it out of order. Since it says the word havaya, it means it has to be exactly so. There's a certain order. The word tia means as is. I told you to put the blood first, the oil second. Don't go out of order. Papa asks, now, in the order of the karbanos, let's see the karbanos here. Let's see where we have. I don't have the karbanos here. Okay, that was yesterday. Oh yeah, I do have. Sorry. Here's the karbanos. The first one that you shecht is the asham. Then comes the chatas. So what if you did it out of order? You went out of order. You did the chatas first instead of second. The Gemara says, throw it out into the garbage. Don't sit there with shaking the blood so that it doesn't congeal. Tuba tsurasa is another concept, Rabbi say. All it means is lina. It means that you leave it overnight. Leave it overnight here, lina. If you want to do it, lina's real quickly. you shech the animal, you do kabbalah sadam. That's the meat from the basar also was left overnight on the mizbeach. Let's say there's the blood. The kids are overnight. Tuba tsurasa means that you make something happen to the actual animal, that it changes. How would you describe it in English? Changes the way it is. But all it means is that it stayed overnight. Tuba tsurasa. Once it stays overnight, but you don't want to take a perfectly good animal that the meat is geshmak and burn it. It's not bakavet to a carbon. So you let it stay overnight. Oh, now it's possible. Now you can burn it. Now, the question is, so what if he went first? He did the chatos before the asham. At the end of the day, there's no difference in the same day. The sign that we're going to put up in all the banks in Eretz Yisrael. There's no time limit in that same day. Ask the Gemara, what do you mean? There's no time limit. We already answered that there is a problem with the time. Because if the Torah says Tia, that means it has to be exactly so. You can't go out of order. If Asham is first, like you see in this chart right over here, Asham is first. So it's first. You can't do Asham second. And if you do Asham second, it's throw it in the garbage because it says Tia. You're right. Typically speaking, if it's the same day, so there's no first, second. But not now. No, he did have a good kasha. You know when you have to be very makpid 1, 2, 3 when you're performing an avodah. But shechting the chatas before the Hashem is not a problem. Why? Because even in Yisrael can do shchita. Here, so if Yisrael can do shchita, that means shchita is not an avodah. It's not an important. How do you say avodah in English? One of the avodas is one of the jobs, one of the functions in the Beis Hamikdash. What are you showing me? That's in the picture? I don't see it on my picture. Who? Really? Okay, so I got to tell you the story. So hold on. Oh, so the question is on the shechita. If you shechted the chatas before the asham, since it's not an essential avodah, because even Israel could do it, what's the big deal? Since it's that same day, who cares if it's out of order? Hello, Mara Papa. Let me just finish this. You're asking me, why does Rav Shlokish say that you put the oimer on the mizbeach even though you can't eat it? We had a question. What was our first question? Mimashki Yisrael. Remember the Yisoid. Mimashki Yisrael. What does Mimashki Yisrael say? It has to be edible, but it's not edible. So how do you put it on the mizbeach? That the first oimer. So the Gemara says, I'll tell you why. It's not the carbon that allows you to eat the new crop. It's the sun that comes out. So if the sun comes out, now I have food that's edible. The first oimer is edible. The whole question is that the oimer is not edible. And how? If it's not edible, how do you put it on the mizbeach? It's not mashki Yisrael. The answer is it is mashki Yisrael. You could eat it. Why could you eat it? Because when the sun comes out on the second day of Pesach, that's when the new crop becomes mutter. The real Mishlog is Damar Tavayo. I feel the Bisman should be something to Shkayim. Daf. Hey, Omid Beis. Hey, you're Mizrach Matir. Givaldik. Let me just do the thing and then I'm going to say Ma'is Shaya. Ankor Elfkir, the Schuz Revush Name Liyad Michol Ben Shalom is the Schuz Hatzlach L'Kol Klal Yisrael. Anonymous. Emer Revush came up, something like that, doing the daf. Thank you again. Emer Revush came up doing the daf. Thank you again. Rabbi said, here's the story. Ma'is Shaya today. We're going up a lift. And it's me and one of my sons. My other son took the lift right in front of us by mistake. Usually we go 3 of us and we take up the whole lift. But we went 2, so we're 2 on the lift. 2 goyim come sit down next to us. Okay, we're going. Halfway up, I decided to schmooze with them, the goyim. So they were wearing these Oakley goggles. I was like, you like your Oakleys? That's how I start. Yeah, love it. I said, I see you both wearing Oakleys, but one is blue, one is red. The different glasses, it's for different weather. He said, yeah, mine is all weather, his is whatever. Where are you from? He asked me. I said, I'm from Israel. I'm from Chicago. Where are you from? I'm from New York. Where in New York? Long Island. Like, where in Long Island? He says, Woodmere. Second, he says Woodmere, like, oh, this guy must be Jewish. Okay. So I said, you ever heard of the daf? That's what I tell him. You ever heard of daf? He says, yeah. I said, do you do the daf? He says, no. He says, and then he says, how about you? You do daf? I said, yeah. He says, you do it with Eli Stefansky? So I said, yeah, I do it with Eli Stefansky. Maisa Shaya, I thought these guys are goyim. It turns out he knows who Eli Stefansky is. Lozzie couldn't believe it. He was blown. And then he looks at me and goes, wait a minute. Are you Eli Stefansky? So I gave him the address. I told him to come tonight, but he didn't show up. His name was Staritsky something. And then it turns out he went to base with my brother-in-law, Betsy Freeman. It was crazy. You don't know, because on the slope, you don't know who's Jewish, who's not Jewish. I had no idea he's Jewish. I literally had no clue he's Jewish. I said, oh, be nice to him. I was just schmooze with him. Oh, wow. Okay, anyways. First time ever, somebody asked me if I do the daf with Eli Stefansky. Maridik. Zok Gemara. I wanted him to come so he could say over the story, because it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it really happened? Yeah, it really happened. But my son was there, and he doesn't lie. Zok Gemara. Mashma that I said that he doesn't lie, mashma that I do lie. I don't lie either, but people think I do. Zok Gemara. Oh. So this thing that we just said, that the new crop becomes mutter when the sun comes out, he didn't say mefurish or sluggish, but we could understand from him that that's what he meant. This nan, emevim minchas, so you have to stop right over there, pause. Emevim minchas means you don't bring a mincha v'soita, or bikurim. That's how it says it in the Mishnah. Just over here, it's a little different. It says minchas bikurim, but that doesn't mean that. It means two different things. There's minchas and there's bikurim. You don't bring bikurim or minchas behema koydem loimer. You don't bring it before the oimer, before you bring the oimer. Vimhevi, and if you did bring it, possible is possible. Koydem shtei alechem. Oh, so here's that halach that I said before, that before you bring the two breads and shvuos, right? You bring the famous two breads and shvuos. That's what's matter to bring any mincha of the new crop. So lo yavi, you shouldn't bring any mincha. V'mehevi kosher. But if you did bring, it's kosher after the fact. Oh, v'amar v'izog Rish Lakish. Here goes Rish Lakish. This is the 14th and the 15th. The second day of Pesach, imhevi kosher. Alma, what do you see? Why is it kosher we bring on the second day of Pesach? Because right in the morning it becomes mutter. Why? Hair mizrach matter. Everybody asks over here, but what's the raya? Maybe the pshat is there's no mechus zman l'bay bayom, right? That was another you say that we learned. Maybe it's because it was that day. That's why it's mutter. Okay, anyway, they go into it. That's shitas Rish Lakish. So again, we have two shitas. What are the two shitas? We have that if you bring a oimer and you think the wrong thought, you think in your head that this is not a oimer, this is a mincha nedava. Rav says, throw it into the garbage. Says Rish Lakish, I argue vehemently. No, you don't throw it in the garbage. You take it, you put it on the mizbeach. You can't eat anything from it until you bring a second oimer. Comes Rav and says, no, you could eat from it from the second oimer. I argue on Rav also. I say it's a good oimer, but it's such a good oimer, you don't even have to bring a second oimer. It's completely kosher. You're allowed to eat the leftovers. This is what he adds on Rish Lakish, and he says, you don't have to bring a second one to be matter. Why? Skip. Yeah, so he explains. Three halachas. Yeah, I said that. He argues on Rav and adds a little bit to Rish Lakish. You don't even need a second oimer. Why? It has to be, the Gemara is going to explain, it has to be a kohen that doesn't have a mum. Ubedavar haroy la'avoida, ubemakom haroy la'avoida. What does that mean? B'mishu haroy la'avoida, it has to be somebody that's available to do that avoida la'puke kohen b'mum. It can't be a kohen that has a mum. Great. Oh, ubedavar haroy la'avoida, and this is what we're looking for. La'puke minchas ha'omer deloi chazio. The chidushu. Since the omer is so special, it's the only time of the year that we use barley. For every other mincha, we have to use wheat. So since it's such a chiddush, because it's something that's not available, memela. Oh, so ein. That's why he starts off and he says, "Shemach." The reason why you don't need a second omer to be matir is because the person. Forget the person. It has to be Mokem Aroi and Misha Roi Lavoida. Davar Roi Lavoida, meaning this Minchas Omer. That's a Chiddush. Ube Mokem Roi Lavoida, Lapuke Nivgam Mizbeach. So that's not important to us. The middle thing is what's important to us, and that's why Rava says you don't need a second Omer. Because you need, it has to be a Davar Haroi Lavoida, which excludes a Omer. And Mokem Roi Lavoida just means that if you have a Mizbeach that has a Bgam on it, it has a defect, you can't use that mizbeach. Oh, so we have two psukim over here. Check this out. Pasuk Beis says, "Mina bakar from the cattle." So the question is, why in Pasuk Gimel does it repeat the words "Mina bakar from the cattle"? So it comes to say a tremendous chiddush. Is a treifa that you cannot use a treifa. If you have an animal, let's say that has a nail in its heart, in its lung, whatever, it's a treifa. It's not going to live a whole year. You cannot bring it as a carb. Think about it. Could you eat an animal that has a mum? Yes. Could you eat an animal that has a treifa? No. Right? That's what they do. They open up all the animals that we shech today. They open it up and they check the heart, the lung, the whole thing. They check all these things. And if they find something that looks like some sort of defect, they call it a treifa and they sell it to the guy. We don't eat from it. So too, you can't bring such an animal on the mizbeach. Says the Gemara, why do I need a pasuk mina bakar, these extra words? That's basically until the bottom of the Amud today. Why do I need these two words? I have a kavachaymer. What's my kavachaymer? Very, very simple kavachaymer. A balmum, an animal with a cast, a broken leg. If they shechted and they bring it to Romanian meat, they'll sell it. No problem. Who cares that it had a broken leg? It's good meat. Nevertheless, also legavaya, but you can't bring it to the mizbech. You can't bring it to the Beis Hamikdash. Treva, shasur lehedyard. You cannot sell a treva to Romanian meat, and it is shasur legavaya. So certainly you can't bring it on to the mizbech. Here, for whatever reason, you decided to make a kavachaymer. Beautiful. Check this out. Kavachaymer in a visual. Let's see, because it's very hard to do a kavachaymer in visual. That's a treva. And that's a balmum. Balmum, no, treifa, no good. Balmum, yes, good. So if you try to put a treifa on his back, certainly it shouldn't be good. If balmum is not good on his back, so certainly with treifa not on his back. Okay, now we understood it? I think we understood it better beforehand. Great. Yeah. So says the Gemara. It's not a great kavachaymer. Why? Because the fat and the blood will prove it. The what? A private person in Romanian meat, you can't sell a vial of blood and chaylev. But you could put it on the mizbeach. The mizbeach eats blood. So you can't bring a raya from private people to the mizbeach. Says Gemara Malachaylev Adam, Shkim Boyim Miklal Heter. Yeah, but the chaylev and dam, 90% of the animal is mutter to eat. So that's why they are mutter to the mizbeach. Remember, treifa shekul asur, but treifa, the entire thing, 100% is asur. Says, okay, you're right. Malika techech. What about poking your thumb through the back of the neck of the bird. Shekula Isur, it's 100% Asur outside of the Beis Hamikdash. Vasur lehadyut, u'b'teres l'gevaya. So it ruins your kavachaymer. You can't prove anything from a private person because here, this bird is Asur privately, the one that you didn't malika to, but it's mutter to the Beis Hamikdash. But wait a minute. Malika is different because it's actually mutter inside the Beis Hamikdash. That is the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to be meilik, and that's its matter. So the bottom line is, now you do have a kavachayim from Balmum. Why does the Torah have to say Ben Bakr to tell me that you can't have a treifa when I have a kavachayim from a Balmum? That's the theorized. Says Gemara, you have to skip these parentheses. Apparently, the way I understand it is someone along the line, some gadol or somebody, put in like his own pshat into the Gemara, but the printer thought it's part of the Gemara, but it's not from the actual text. They went back later on, they saw the original text is not there. It might be good pshat, but it's not part of the text. Vimeshafta, which is also a very strange, I don't even know if it's ever in Shas, these words, Vimeshafta. And if you wanted to give a teretz, if you have a great answer to the kavachaymer, so I won't have a kavachaymer. So now I need to know why is it treifa also to bring to the Beis Hamikdash? Oh, because it says mina bakar. Because it shouldn't have said it. What's your great answer to my kavachaymer? What's my kavachaymer again? Yoshi's kavachaymer. The what? If a balmum is mutter to a private person, it's also to mizbeach. So a treifa, which is also to a private person, certainly should be also to mizbeach. Why do I need the words ben bakar? Simin rikiach marada l'shishay. Oh, we're doing great time-wise. Because you have a kavachaymer from a private person that can't eat a treifa, so certainly the mizbeach can't. I'll prove it to you from this omer that we're talking about the whole day. Where it's also to a private person, but it's mostly to the Beis Hamikdash. So just because something's also to a private person doesn't mean that it's also to the Beis Hamikdash. What proof do you have from omer? Omer is very special because that's something powerful. It allows you to eat the new crop. Says Gemara, no, b'shvius. On Shemitah, it doesn't allow you to eat the new crop. There is no new crop. Says Gemara, there is a new crop. Things that grow by themselves during the Shemitah year. Bashvius. That's what the Omer comes to be matter even on the 7th year. Says Gemara, no. He holds that the new crop is also referring to Rashi says after the time of the beer. There's a concept called beer on Shemitah. That is when the animals stop eating that particular crop. Let's say the deer. So yesterday, by the way, I don't know if you were here yesterday. Yeah. Today we saw moose. Again, 2 moose. You saw? You saw moose yesterday. We saw moose yesterday because the guys that were here, they were so, wow, you saw moose. Where? They showed them pictures. We saw deer and moose on the trail, on the ski thing. So once the moose stop eating whatever they're eating over there, then you have to burn that particular product out of your house. So if you have apples and they're no longer eating the apples off the tree, as an example, I don't know if that's so then you have to get rid of it's the Zman Beer, you have to get rid of the apples from your house. So Rashi says it's just talking about these fichim after the Zman Beer. But I still have a pircha according to Rabbi Kiva. You can't bring in a raya from the Omer because it's so powerful, it allows you to eat the new produce in America and in England and in Australia and Chutz La'aretz. And even you tell me that it's not even a deraisa in Chutz La'aretz, it's so powerful that it's matter itself. You have a whole bowl of barley. You can't eat the barley. But when you take the barley and you put it on the Mizbeach, that barley that you put on the Mizbeach allows you to eat itself. Now you can eat the rest of the barley in that bowl. Treifa, so you have a little bit of hole in the heart, you have a nail that went through its stomach. It should be mutter. It should be matter itself. What raya you bring me from a omer when the Torah tells you use barley that's osur to eat and use it. That's how you do the mitzvah. That's the only way to do it. It's not like something that usually you have a way to be like a treifa. You have an animal that's not treifa. You have animals that are treifa. So you can't be matter a treifa. Great. But over here by the Omer, the only way to do the mitzvah of the Omer is to use produce that's aser. Okay, so that's the mitzvah. So you can't bring me any raya from it. Somebody who makes Torahs can prove it. It seems like from the words of the Gemara that it's also for a human being to put together the Torahs, but it's mutter to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the Gemara, Mefatim Gavru, the person doing it it's a person, it's not Hashem. Ella, so let me just show you this real quickly. These are the 11 different samamanim that you make Torahs, okay? You can see, I can't see. Tzipayre, Levina. We know what Levina is. Fragrances, Mar, Chelban, Karkoim, Tsari, Koisht, Shabbos Nerd, Kinema, and Kilufa, Ktzia. Okay. This is how they make Torahs. Wow. Okay. So to repeat the story that I said already, maybe I'll add something, I don't know. But one of the most emotional things for me on Shabbos was Rabbi Yoel Gold in a speech. And he spoke at length about this scientist, this archaeologist that came from, I think, the United States. And he got a license to dig in the Qumran. And he dug 1 year, 2 years. He couldn't find it. He was basing it on some sort of sefer that says that they hid the vessels of the Beis Hamikdash in the Qumran somewhere. And he's digging and he dug for 15 years and didn't find anything. Then he dug more, 20 years. And then he dug more, 25 years. And then he dug another 5 years. He got to 30 years. After 30 years, he found something. Found something very strange. It was ground up spices. So he took it and he sent it to a lab in America, the top lab here. And the guy checked it under a microscope and he found that it had 11 spices. And the 11 spices matched exactly. And he brought with him to the Shabbos, he brought a book this thick, the report on those spices. And they matched these 11 spices exactly. And he said that he looked in the microscope, typically speaking, when you grind something, let's say you grind cinnamon, you look in the microscope, you see one piece is larger, one piece is smaller. He said this was perfectly ground. It's like chodek hetev, very, very finely ground. And he goes on to say this whole long story, how he wanted to get the spice and he wanted to know why they closed down the dig, a whole thing. He got his hands on a vial of this stuff, which they believe to be original Torahs from the time of the Beis Hamikdash. Now, they went to Rabbi Yosef with it, and Rabbi Yosef said it doesn't have Kedusha. It was the snow. Rabbi Yosef's son said it's a mitzvah to be Mefarsim. But I think Rabbi Yosef said that there's no Kedusha to it because it wasn't put into Klisharis. And since it wasn't in the Klisharis, it's not, but that's that. And the guy burnt it, and it smelled like crazy smell. There's no flies, all ma'isa. And then in the middle of the speech, he pulls it out. It's in a little thing. And he says, somebody offered me $250,000 for this. And I refused to sell it to him. I'm not selling it. And as he's talking, I'm thinking, so wow, this would be such a great prop for MDY. I could use something like this for MDY. You know, Paris Levine bought me a spinner thing, or what is it called that you make to make garments, to make fabric from Masechet Shabbos and throughout Shas. Somebody even bought me one of these. I think it was Itzkowitz bought me a in this video when you see that a mortar and what is it called, a mortar and kitzer, one of those. I pull it out during shir. Wow, this would be great. And then he said $250,000. I'm like, forget it. I'm never gonna get it. Pestle, more than pestle. So, but Lamaisa, in the middle of the speech, he goes, and now I want to give this as a gift to Rebelli. I'm not giving it to Rebelli. This is for Klal Yisrael. I'm giving a gift to Klal Yisrael. And the whole place went wild. I started tearing up. It was very emotional. It was one of the highlights for me of the Shabbos. And I actually have it. I don't have it here. It would have been perfect now to pull it out. And, we'll have other opportunities. I lived in New York. So,
says the other thing is
a loom. Yes. A loom. And some guy gave me I forgot his name, real golden coins worth over $1,000, because when I talk about the gold and the silver and the machzah shekel.
Well, it's mark, not white.
I know. I didn't want to correct you, Barabin, but I'm well aware of his name. I've been in situations where he's been called that, and the other person didn't come out alive. A little trauma. It's nishkefelach. We're working on it. To make the Ketores is also for a private individual in his house, but it's mutter in the Beis Hamikdash. And finally, the Gemara says, you can't bring in the right from Ketores, because that's the way to do the mitzvah. Mashenkin by, let's say, a treifa, you could get a whole animal. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Shkoyach so much, the two of you, for coming and keeping me company. Have a safe life back, Shmuel.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.